Welcome back, and before I get started, I want to thank all of you that subscribed and helping me on this journey. Like I say, if without you, it's no me, and I really appreciate it. So for all of you who haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you learn anything from this or you just like seeing these type of videos. All right, so on this one, what I'm going to do is try to figure out where I'm going to start from. And in this one, I got a lot of things going on this drawing, but there is one distinct place that you have to start from on this drawing. And it's going to be located at this area. Okay. And the reason I'm starting there is because you can see that these other two dimensions that are next to that starting point, they don't have any kind of, they're not whole numbers basically. So these two numbers here are decimals and things of that nature at the end of it. So we're going to let AutoCAD fill that out for us. And the way we're going to do that is with auto tracking. So these dimensions really don't need to be on this drawing for me to complete it. And I'm going to show you that once we get to that part. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, so let's go ahead and figure out what we need to do first. So I always like to start by turning my grid off. And then I'll verify that my dynamic input is on. You remember what that does. It just saves us a step from having to put that @ symbol there. This one, you can see that there's angles all over the place. And with that, you can see there's a common theme with all of these. So if you're not too familiar with them, all of these dimensions are at some kind of 15 degrees. All right, so that's going to tell us what we need to do when we set up our polar tracking. So this is a perfect example for when to use polar tracking. We have the angles and we have distances. So on this one, we will not need to deal with any kind of rectangular components. All polar tracking. And then we're going to, like I said at the intro here, we're going to deal with these two lines here by using the object snap tracking. So we're going to get that going. Okay, so I'm back to verifying the things that I need to do. So my dynamic input is turned on. This one is not a candidate for ortho mode, so I'm going to ignore that one. This fly up here, I'm going to go and make sure it's on the 15, 30, 45, 60. And then I'm going to activate it by turning it on. So make sure that this is blue. So once again, and I'm just going back and recapping that all of this is turned on. Next is my object snap tracking. And I'm just going to make sure that endpoint is turned on. That's what I'm going to need. So when that time comes, we're going to need to make sure that our input is on. I'm sorry, our endpoint is on. And like I just want to make sure that if you don't know how to turn this on really quick, go ahead and hit the 3 customization bars and then go find dynamic input over here and make sure that there's a check beside it. And you should get that icon. All right, let's go ahead and get started now. I start off with the line, and like I said, I'm going to start in that location that I told you to. I'm going to start to the right of those decimals, and I like to work, as I always say, my brain works in a counterclockwise rotation. So I'm going to click the first point, and now that line goes down at a 15 degrees. So I'm going to hold it. I'm looking at my cursor here, and I'm just going to go down. Remember, I have this thing set to click at every 15 degrees. So once it's going down in this direction, make sure you're getting the green tracking lines. I'm going to type in 8, enter. And now I completed my first line. The next one is a horizontal line, so that's easy enough. We can take a look at this one, and then we can go at 10. Now we're going to start getting to some more complicated matters. We can see that we have this angle of 150 degrees. So we're going to have to make sure we either count in one or two directions. We can swing back and go this direction, 150 degrees, or if we know that this line has to be at 180 degrees, and I'll kind of sketch this out for you. And once again, please, don't be too hard on me for my crooked lines here. But I know that this has to be 30 degrees. So this angle here on this side is 30 degrees. That's 150 because if it's a complete straight line, it has to equal 180 degrees. So that's going to help us a lot instead of counting all the way back this direction and typing in 150 or clicking until we get to 150. It's easier to go from the other direction and make it to the 30 degrees. Okay, so what I'm implying is that we have that line created, and instead of counting all the way back here and keep kind of figuring out those clicks, it's a lot easier, and you see AutoCAD is giving me my preview of that 30 degrees. So it always is going to count from that positive X direction. So that helps me out. So once I get to that 30 degrees, and you can see it on there, it's polar tracking at that 30, I can type in the dimension that I need, which is 15. All right. So now I have to worry about counting the other way back. Now, this line here that's going up in this direction is going to be 75. There is no kind of shortcut or way around this. I'm pretty sure if you can kind of see this line going out here, and if you go at a 90 degrees, which is shooting at this direction, I can figure out that this is 15 degrees. Okay, so I have two options here. I can count out the 75 degrees, or I can go at this 90 and then come back in this direction at 15 degrees. And I'm going to apologize to you beforehand from kind of keep switching back and forth. If you kind of follow along, I do apologize for that, but I'm trying to make sure that I get this point across. So if I'm looking at it this way, I can see that this is a 90 degrees. You can kind of verify that, and if you're looking at it on the screen, you see that that is 90 degrees, right? You can see that these two lines are making that 90 degrees. I can simply come back this direction and wait for one click. So 90 minus 15 should equal 75. I can do it that way. If you don't trust that, you can always start here and then count every click. So that's 15, 30, 45, 60, and then finally 75. So no matter how or whichever way you get to it, that way will work. So I can easily see that this is 90 degrees, and one click to the left of that is going to give me that 75. So I'll type in 15. All right, so I'll verify the next one, which is going to be a 90 degrees. I'm coming up this direction, and I can kind of look at that and eyeball and see that that is indeed 90 degrees. I'll go ahead and type in 15. I'm going to do another 90 degrees, which goes up this direction. So I can look at it and I can see physically on the screen that that is 90. So I'll type in another 15. All right, and now we're starting to get to some stuff where it's sitting at 105, right? So in this one, instead of kind of figuring out the math, I will count it out on this one. So I'm just going to kind of go back. This is 15, remember? And sometimes you'll see that I got the OSNAP tracking on that little plus there, and it's kind of trying to take control of my cursor. If you scroll either in or out with the mouse wheel, it will clear that. All right. So this is at 0, right? 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, and then finally 105. Okay, I'll go ahead and type in the number that I need, which is going to be 20. This is going to be a straight line going to the left, so I can look at it on the screen, verify that. It's going to be 15. Enter. This needs to be at 35, so that's easy. So I can tell AutoCAD to show me that 135 angle there. So I have it verified on there, and that's 15. Once again, I have another 90, which those are nice and easy to figure out in AutoCAD. So I can verify it on the screen. That's my 90. That's going to be 15. And now I'm at that point that I was trying to tell you before, that I don't really need those two dimensions, and I'm going to let AutoCAD do that. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm just going to click my polar tracking off, and then I'm going to put on my ortho mode, since both of these lines are going to be horizontal and vertical. I want you to touch, do not click on that endpoint. Drag your mouse straight along that direction, and then once you see that line, that tracking line, do a left click there, and then I'll type in C to close. And so that's how you're going to get those last 2 points. All right. So thank you once again to all the people that have subscribed to my channel. And if you haven't, what are you waiting for? I think, you'll enjoy watching some of these more complicated problems, and hopefully this clears you up in AutoCAD. So I want to thank you guys for watching. And once again, I will see you in the next video. And if you haven't hit that button, go ahead and hit it down below. Thank you.